Hey guys, as you guys know, today is the 10-year anniversary of the, I can't say anything else, but tragedy in New York City and Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, September 11th, 2001, 10 years ago, date. And one of our teachers asked, is September 11th a date to you? Is it just a date in history, or is it an important day? Does it really mean something to you? And I think that's really an amazing question, because to me, it does. I've researched a lot about 9/11. I've done probably a handful of major reports on 9/11. I'm somewhat of an expert. When I was in probably about 5th grade, it was bordering on obsession a little bit, but I just want to talk about this. But these are my views. I may be stating them as fact, but once again, they are my opinions. Feel free to, to shoot them down. But like I said, they're my opinions. Images that are going to be imprinted into my brain for the rest of my life. The second plane hitting the Trade Center. People jumping out of buildings, killing themselves. I remember one person said, how terrible can it be when your best option is to jump from a 100-story building? I want to talk about the heroes. Obviously the firefighters. Some amazing bravery is shown by these people. And to go in to basically, they might not know it, but to basically walk in is almost a suicide mission. And to fight just to help these people, just to get a couple people out, it is pretty amazing. And the ones that we lost, we're going to miss for a very long time. I saw a video a couple of years back, and I recently just watched it again. It was a really sad video about a girl talking about her dad that she lost on 9/11, and he was a firefighter. And obviously it's a sad topic, and it made me very sad watching it. But thinking about it, it got me more angry, because they say 3,000 people died. There's millions of victims of September 11th. I think I count a victim as being someone who has to grieve, who's had to go to somebody's funeral, who's had to realize that their mom or dad, or then they're never going to see their grandpa or grandma or aunt or uncle, their brother, their sister, ever again. That's victim. David Letterman once said about this event that the men who pulled off this attack were zealots. They were based on religious fervor, and they didn't like the way that we lived, and so they decided to kill thousands of people. And he put it best in saying, you could live to be 1,000. And will that ever make any sense? Will that ever make any goddamn sense? And I think the answer is clearly no. I went to Washington, D.C. last year, in 2 years ago in my 8th grade class. And I remember looking up, and I was looking at the Capitol building. And I said, wow. If it weren't for those people, that might not be there anymore. I just saved their lives. But in the end, they ended up sacrificing their own to save thousands, hundreds of others. And that's patriotism, and that's something that we should never forget. I've watched the documentary Loose Change about the 9/11 conspiracy theories, and look, I'm open to every argument, alright? But let's say somebody went up to you, let's say tomorrow your mom were to die, alright? in a plane crash, right? And then a couple days later, somebody goes up to you and says, you know that phone call that your mom made before she died? That never happened. It was all fake. It was a whole thing that the government did so we could go to Iraq for oil. Your mom didn't really die. She faked it because she was in with the government, and your mom's totally fine. And if somebody said that to me, I'd clock them in the face. I'd be tempted not to slit their throats, honestly. I'm open to any argument, alright? But after thinking about that, okay, go ahead and believe what you want to believe. But putting it in that context, it's hard for me to try to believe anything else. I don't like politics, not because I think it's boring or anything. I think that most politicians are liars and hypocrites, and I think our country's run like a high school hockey team, really. I mean, yeah, I think that it's kind of embarrassing, the government that we have at this point. I don't think that we have a bad president. I just think that I would say Congress is full of people who, pardon my French here, but it's a dick measuring contest, alright? Every single person's like, oh, well, I know this, and I make this much money, so I'm going to veto this bill. And it's like, no, I'm a Republican, I'm going to vote on this bill, and my dick is bigger than yours, and I shoot your bitches. I remember the day we caught Osama bin Laden, people were saying, ooh, should we be fearful of retaliation? I stood up and cheered, literally. I didn't sleep that night when I heard about it. I was so happy that this epitome of evil, this monster, was dead. And as far as I'm concerned, we didn't do enough. We went up to him and we put a bullet in the back of his head. Alright? And for the mission that was given, they did an amazing job. But if it was up to me, I would have dragged his ass by his beard in the middle of New York City, poured gasoline on him, and set that asshole on fire. And, call me psychotic, but Jon Stewart, I think put it best. Jon Stewart's an amazing man. If I had to vote one man, politician or not, to be president, it would be Jon Stewart. I think that he knows America. He knows the spirit of America. He's an everyday guy, but he's also very smart. And I think after 9/11, he was really shaken, and I think he put it best in saying, these men, right, there was all these talk that these men were criminal masterminds, and they got together and they formed this amazing, with their will and their guile, and they blew up, the World Trade Center and ran planes into it. That's a lie. Any fool can blow something up, but to look in New York and to see people literally with buckets rebuilding. Right? These people, they live in chaos. Right? Chaos, it can't sustain itself. Right? It's too easy. And it's too unsatisfying. I just want to quote Jon Stewart one more time. He said, the view from his apartment in Manhattan used to be the World Trade Center, and it's gone, obviously. They attacked it. This amazingly built, beautiful place for intelligence and commerce, and it's gone. But you know what the view is now in the south of Manhattan? It's a Statue of Liberty. Can't beat that. And I got one more thing to say. This isn't a quote. This is me. And if you're out there watching this and you're younger and you're just entering high school and getting to the point when teachers try to persuade on how you should feel about something, this is, to me, a fact. And don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. This is the United States of America. And we live in the greatest country in the world. The greatest country ever founded. No matter what the economy is. No matter how much we're in debt. No matter how badly our government's run. Take a moment of silence for every person lost on that day. And I think that the day we forget heroes and the victims that we lost, that is the day that they win. Moment of silence.